All right. Well, I'm Amber Peterson. I have a company called Cheers Consulting Group, and it is primarily Pinterest management and content writing. Let's see, drinks I like. Danielle turned me on to an espresso machine that I purchased about a year ago, which I'm very thankful I did, now that I can't go out to get it. And then I like Palomas when I'm drinking. And something about me, I have 3 daughters, 2 of which are right here homeschooling. So if you hear anything, they're right there. And so Pinterest, I kind of niched down into Pinterest marketing because I think it is the most underused platform for content creators ever. It is lumped into social media a lot, but it is absolutely not social media. It is a search engine that is the 3rd largest used next to Google and YouTube. And for people who create content, I like to look at it as like an amplification. So if people are on there to search, discover, and solve problems. And so if you have your content on there, it is a way to get more eyes onto your website. It's a unique platform in that the whole goal is to get people off of Pinterest and onto your website. So I really enjoy working with people who create a lot of content. Karen her website has done great. All of you authors on this call we've put your content onto Pinterest under Fave, it's all done well. Like Karen mentioned, her analytics have gone up and down. We were at 500,000 in January, we're back up there now. And one thing about Pinterest, if you're not using it, is right now the traffic is up about 60% from where it was this time last year because we're all at home and people are searching Pinterest. So where it normally takes about 3 to 6 months to see traffic to your website from Pinterest marketing, that's been shortened quite a bit because so many people are using it right now. So today, Karen asked me to just give you a few tips on Pinterest marketing. So whether you're using it, whether you've dabbled in it, or you're thinking about it, these are kind of the 3 big things that I tell people like straight off the bat. And I'm going to skip my biggest one because you are all content creators, but it is that you have to create content. I've had a number of clients who are like, I want to be on Pinterest. And then I'm like, could I get some content? And they're like, yeah, I don't do that. So you have to create content. Blog posts, videos, free downloads, anything you can direct traffic to, that's what you need. But you all do that already. So you've already got one step ahead there. So my 3 biggest tips about Pinterest is that for each piece of content that you create, you want to create at least 15 different graphics to upload to Pinterest, directing to that one piece of content. For my clients, we usually get down to about 15 to 20 templates, and you are just using that branded image with the title to your piece of content, and that goes onto Pinterest. The rule of thumb is it's about 60% your content you're putting up there and 40% you're repinning relevant non-competitive content. And a lot of people are like, 60%, are you kidding me? Like, because they're thinking one image for one blog post, let's say, but you can take 15, 20, 30 different images that all redirect back, and then you kind of just drip that out over time. So when you're thinking about the amount you have to put out there, it's not like, you don't have to create 15 pieces a month or something. You can take one piece and repurpose it over all these different images. The next piece is
Heather, could I ask you a quick question about,
sure.
Do I change the image, change the title? I just changed the image.
Just the image. The title can be the same. You just want to make it look a little bit different. Recently, Pinterest kind of did a algorithm shift that was they're prioritizing fresh content, and what they mean by fresh content is different looking images.
Okay.
So go ahead, Karen.
So ladies, I want you to know too that Amber is already doing this for you. She is taking your one piece of content and putting, Amber, did you say like 10 different graphics with it on Pinterest already for you?
Yeah. So as like at what Danielle said about linking to your website and your articles, we're driving traffic to Fave, but if they're landing on your article and reading it, that's a way they can then discover you and go to your website. So it all feeds the content machine, right? So make sure you're linking to your own website so it's there. But yeah, it's a, because basically the reason you do all those images is you don't know which one's going to grab someone on Pinterest, because when it's fed into their feed, you know, people are just scrolling. You want to have a variety of different images, and then you can over time look back and say like, oh, these like 3 templates that I use all seem to really convert people to clicking through, and you can modify and adjust. So a lot of people would make like back when, before they prioritize this fresh content idea, they would make like 1 image and just repin that over and over and over. And now if you do that, Pinterest is like, that's a little spammy, and they don't feed your content up into the algorithm. So lots of images. And the key there is just keep them, you know, the same colors, or like whatever your brand is, you keep it consistent, but the images are different, like, you know, the stock photos or whatever, excuse me, whatever you use to just make it look a little bit different, so that Pinterest isn't like, hey, this is the same thing over and over and over again. The next thing is, because Pinterest is a search engine, you use a similar keywording strategy as you would, you know, when you're writing for SEO or Google ranking. And so the one thing I love about Pinterest is if you're using it currently, you know, you go into the search bar and you start typing in and it'll autofill. That's telling you what keywords people are searching for. So for example, if I'm figuring out how to write descriptions and I take one of your articles, I'm going to go through and like, I'm going to take Brenda as an example. Let's say that I type in forgiveness coach and it's auto-filling a bunch of other terms at the end. That means people are searching for those. So before you start writing descriptions and keywording your articles on your Pinterest boards, you can kind of look and see what is being searched for. So that's a nice, it's a nice feature to kind of help you game the algorithm, because you can say, oh, this is what's being searched for, I'm going to make sure I include that into my description. And the other thing, I'm sure you've noticed when you search Google, you'll see people's Pinterest boards come up in the results. Some people, that drives them crazy. Like, I think it's just another great way that someone can discover you. Like, maybe your website isn't ranking on the first page yet of Google, but your Pinterest boards might. And so if they're clicking into your Pinterest board that's been keyworded perfectly, then they can discover you through that way instead of having to find your website. And once they land on your board, they see your profile on Pinterest, which has your website. So the keywording is important, and you can really just use Pinterest for that. And another thing they've rolled out recently is they have a trend section that you can, under analytics, where you can go in and type like the main thing you write about or the main idea or topic that you're focusing on, and it'll tell you what under that is trending this month. So if you're looking for ideas of things to write or topics to cover, you can go to that trend bar and say, oh, well, this is what people are searching for in my area of expertise this month. And finally, the last tip is just to be consistent and be patient. Pinterest, like I said, takes a while to see the traffic. So you have to consistently pin. For my clients, I pin 300 pins a month. So it's a 60% their content, 40% repinned relevant content. And there's a scheduling software called Tailwind that I cannot recommend highly enough. I go in once a month and schedule out a whole month. Otherwise, if you use Pinterest personally, you know that when you go in, you could go into schedule and then like 2 hours later, you're, you know, down the hole of like enchilada recipes or something. Like, it's good to get in once, get it done, and then that's it. Because it's a fun platform and there's a lot of places you can go, but if you're using it for marketing, you can just go into Tailwind, schedule it, and be done with it, and just use Pinterest on your personal time for fun stuff and not get distracted. So those are the 3 biggest things. I'm always happy to chat about Pinterest. If anyone has any other questions, you can shoot me an email or whatever. And I think it is so underused. And if you're creating content, it is an easy way to amplify that. So.
Awesome. Amber, thank you so much. You know, we're going to have some questions. I will tell you we have 3 minutes left is all.
Okay.
On